The mountains of eastern Kentucky tell a story of beauty and heartbreak. Its scenic views are captivating.
I see the beauty in the gray of these mountains.
But it was the coal within the mountains that created an industry, keeping families here for generations.
So this is the site of a former mine?
Well, you drive on up in here.
Tim Crawford says even after the collapse of coal in eastern Kentucky, many families stayed, though thousands of jobs were gone.
The ripple effect is what you see, is that people, what we always said, families that could leave left and that had the ability to move and leave. Some stayed that, this is where I've been all along.
Crawford is the development director of Redbird Mission, hidden away in the Daniel Boone National Forest. Redbird provides food, water, clothing, also economic, health, and educational ministries in 3 isolated counties, an area Crawford has called home for more than 30 years.
It's a great place to live. I raised 2 daughters in these mountains.
However, poverty rates of Bell, Clay, and Leslie counties are some of the highest per capita in the country, between 30 and 40%.
Without the coal industry, how do people earn a living in this area?
Well, that's the whole issue. Basically we're down to healthcare, education is almost what you have here.
And the people who need the most help,
extremely isolated, remote,
are often the hardest to reach.
New York State is a long ways away.
That's what makes this delivery so special.
I know there's a lot of us here making this happen. It's not just community outreach at Redbird Mission.
600 miles one way, and the last 20 were the longest.
Yes, sir. That's really true. But it's for a good purpose, why we do it.
Book bags and hats and gloves.
Churches throughout upstate New York have assembled and shipped thousands of shoeboxes of personal care supplies and holiday gifts.
Partnering with New York and this tremendous collection, we serve up to 4,000 children.
Tracy Nolan is the director of community outreach at Redbird. 25 years ago, Nolan came to Redbird for a 2-year nursing internship, but she never left.
And I continue to stay here to serve God's people. I'm in a community where there is so much talent and resilience and worth.
Pastor Dwayne Yost,
if I live another 3 weeks, I'll be 87.
Came to Redbird during the 1960s, and he's here to collect donations for his congregation at Flat Creek and Mud Lick Churches of the Brethren.
It's wonderful to be a part of God's work wherever it is, whether it's at Redbird or if it's in New York where they put these boxes together. It's wonderful that we can all work together.
At the beginning, we said the mountains tell a story of beauty and heartbreak. But when you put those two together, you'll find faith.
I do it because I'm serving Jesus Christ.
Faith in one another, no matter the distance.
That's who we are as Christian people, is that we're people of hope.
Back a ways in Bell County, Jonathon Gregg, Spectrum News. Pick any street in Mayfield and there's a story. North Street.
I got 3 dump trucks running back and forth. We're going to the dump, getting all the metal out, separating it to recycle, debris, concrete block, et cetera, et cetera.
I've got barbecue sandwiches and fries.
Broadway Street.
We saw a need in the community and our community reached out to us wanting to help in some way.
South Street.
There's pieces of signs, pieces of walls, shingles off the roofs. Just want to help in any way I can. I know there's a lot of people who've lost a lot.
I think that's my dad right there, maybe.
And then there's 6th and Ann Street.
We're trying to look for some old family pictures.
Where Logan Davis is searching for family photos in what was his cousin's home.
I think they found about 5 so far. There's There's some that we found on Facebook. It was like 100 miles away up north. Somebody posted it on Facebook and we found it that way.
Everyone in his family is accounted for.
That's this house, I can tell by the wall.
But salvaging a few family photos would help raise their spirits. So much around Davis has been knocked down.
It just came around the corner and hit them.
In Mayfield, there's a story on every corner, each one unique, yet connected by tragedy. Rest assured, the next chapter will be about triumph. Jonathon Gregg, Spectrum News. Blinds help keep out the sharp afternoon sun, so Mark Pence can focus.
The focus should really just be on figuring out what the source of the problem is and attacking the source.
He also doesn't need the constant reminder of what happened right outside his living room window.
I think a lot of us is still trying to process.
On September 22nd, 3 teenagers were shot while waiting for their school bus in an apparent drive-by shooting. 16-year-old Tyree Smith was killed.
You know what I'm saying? That little boy didn't wake up this morning knowing he was going to get killed on the bus stop.
Pence was there and helped one of the survivors as children ran for their lives.
I literally had to hold his wound, hold his shoulder so he didn't bleed out.
In the days since,
community's been a little bit more together in some aspects.
The barber has been giving free haircuts to the same neighborhood kids. Across the street, another organization has been driving children to and from school.
I definitely want to give a shout out to Jonathon Gregg and her therapy services that's being offered here in the neighborhood for these people directly on the block, because it happened in front of her building. So
no arrest yet, but Pence believes that day will come. So at the moment, his focus isn't on the criminal, it's on the families affected.
These kids are really dying. These families are really in need of mental health services, all kinds of services that were being, in my eyes, withheld or kept from us.
The reality is, something terrible happened right outside Mark Pence's door. And that's why it's so clear to him. He wants to make a difference exactly where he stands.
And that's what we need. We don't need outrage. We don't need a bunch of people screaming and hollering. We need people just getting on the ground and doing the work.
In Louisville, Jonathon Gregg, Spectrum News.